Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our scenario is entitled Draw the Blinds on Yesterday, and it first appeared in White Dwarf magazine, issue number 63. It was written by Marcus L. Rowland, and our GM is Mick Swan. We've been waiting for this one for a while, so without delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. Mick?
Thanks, Tom. Airports, the great leveler. No matter who you are, what you've done, or where you've been, the monotony is the same for everyone. All human life is here. Screaming children, a gaggle of giggling nuns, overdressed businessmen, lobster-red holidaymakers dozing off the last of the cheap ouzo in uncomfortable plastic seats. They're all here, bored out of their minds and waiting, listening to a bouzouki rendition of Papa Don't Preach and coming to terms with the fact that their holiday is over and the real world waits only a few hours away. A young man, his fake tan streaked by sweat and staining the collar of his shirt, is trying unsuccessfully to argue his way into an upgrade. The old woman behind him cradles a raffia donkey in her arms and tuts. You gaze out over the runway. Even through the tinted glass, you can still feel the heat of the August sun. If you close your eyes, you're still there in that perfect little backstreet taverna you found one night, watching the world go by. Your reverie is broken by the announcement crackling over the tannoy. Athene Airlines flight 1743 from Athens to London is now boarding. Would passengers please make their way to the gate and have their boarding passes ready? You go through the gate, you take your seat, and you settle in, trying your best to get a little rest despite the noise and chatter. You're awakened sometime later by a sudden lurch, a change in engine note, and that curious dropping sensation that you associate with turbulence. The seatbelt lights blink on and the captain announces that the plane will soon land at London Heathrow. And then, a curious thing. As the plane taxis along the runway, you absent-mindedly look out of the window and see, much to your alarm, that the plane appears to have an escort of sorts. Several police cars and a fire tender appear to be keeping pace with you. Their lights are flashing, but craning your neck, you can't see any sign of smoke or fire coming from the plane. Looking around the plane, you see that you're not alone in your apprehension. Other people have seen the emergency vehicles, and a soft murmur of discontent ripples through the plane. You have a feeling, a strange sensation deep in the pit of your stomach, that something is very wrong here. Moments later, a message comes across on the intercom. Would passengers please stay in their seats? There seems to be some sort of issue with the flight. We're not quite sure yet what's going on, but we're just being held up for a few minutes. I think there's some kind of problem with allocation or something. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Eventually, after about a 10 or 15 minute wait, the doors open and very confused looking stewards and stewardesses start directing people to the doors. When you get through the doors, however, instead of going into the luggage collection, as would be normal, you're all herded into a large hangar and asked, very politely, if you could wait until people are ready to see you. Then, a few at a time, people are escorted out of the hangar. It takes about 25 minutes when the 6 of you, along with 9 or 10 other people, are made into a group, lined up, and sent down a series of long, well, they're not even public tunnels, they're just corridors. Dirty old access corridors. You're shown into another room. Sorry, I'm getting really distracted by the the bone chomping that's going on in the room with you. You're shown into another room. I've lost my place now. I do apologize.
Damn the bone chomping.
Right, you're shown into another room in the terminal building where there are police present and asked to take a seat. One by one, you get invited into this room. And I'm going to just do a potted version of each interview with each of you by way of introducing your characters. So I'll work from one side to another. So we'll start with Corey. You're invited into this interview room, and sit down. There are two people in the interview room. One is a police officer in a uniform, and the other is a man in a suit. Both of them have clipboards in front of them, and there's a tape recorder on the table in front of them.
Okay.
So, could you begin by giving me your name, please, sir?
Well, I'm Francis Nelson.
Right, Mr. Nelson, and your age?
55.
And your nationality, please?
Canadian.
And
American.
your purpose, the purpose of your journey?
It was just a nice leisure trip, vacation.
I see. And you were just in Greece. You weren't flying on from anywhere else.
Nope.
Okay. And you're flying back to Canada?
Actually, the States.
Oh, you're flying back to the States. Okay. Okay. Right. Did you see anything unusual when you were on the plane?
No, I did not see anything unusual.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing weird. Nothing that you didn't think should be on the plane.
No, it was like a normal trip, plane ride.
Could you do me a favor now at this point and make a spot hidden roll for me?
I fail.
Okay. So you're not carrying any weapons, chemicals, liquids, anything like that with you?
Yes, I am carrying a weapon on me.
On you?
Yep.
Or in your luggage?
It was on me.
It's on you. Could you describe the nature of that weapon, please?
Okay, I hand you the weapon.
And what is this weapon, by the way?
It's a Beretta 9mm.
I see. Do you have a permit for this?
Yes, I do. And I hand you the permit.
Right. I mean, that all seems to be in order, but unfortunately, because of the nature of this incident, I'm afraid we're going to have to hang on to this for the time being. You'll be given a receipt, and you will, of course, get it back when you leave the country.
Okay.
But I'm sure you understand we can't allow you to wander around with a handgun right now. He looks uneasily at the uniformed officer and said, "Can you sort this out? Do you think?" And
yeah.
He says, "Yes, of course, we'll get that done for you. If you'd like to come with me." Just before you go, make another spot hidden. This time at -15%.
I passed with that.
What did you get? What did you roll?
I rolled a 42, and it was a 67 and 42, and mine is a 67 or a 70.
58. Okay, could everyone else take off their headphones for a moment? Well, this will be quite brief. I'll give you a... You're looking around the room uneasily. You're not really content with what's going on here. And your eyes fall on a calendar on the wall.
Yeah.
Now, what immediately strikes you is that the calendar says September, and someone has put an X on September the 1st, as if they're marking the days off.
Okay.
But when you got on the plane, it was very definitely August the 11th.
Okay. I basically ask, is that the correct date there?
Here on the calendar, yes.
Yeah.
And he looks uneasily at the uniformed officer again and says, "Well, I'm not quite sure how to tell you this, but there's been something of an incident."
Oh, really?
You see, yeah, the flight you were on, flight 1743, left Athens and disappeared. And in fact, for the last 3 weeks, we've been assuming you were lost somewhere over the English Channel, that the plane had crashed somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yes, which is why we're, as you can understand, we're a little bit perturbed that you seem to have popped up again. And I'm going to have to ask you to make a sanity roll as well, please.
I fail.
Then you will lose 1 point of sanity.
Yeah. I'm like, I should be honest about this. I am actually a off-duty air marshal. That's why I have the gun.
Well, if you're off duty, I mean, you know, we can't allow you to keep the weapon on you while you're.
I totally
until
understand
you leave the country again. I mean, obviously, it'll be here for you when you leave the country, or if you're flying out from a different airport, we'll forward it onto that airport in a secure package. But with the firearms restrictions in the UK, I can't allow you to keep that firearm with you. It wouldn't be appropriate.
Okay.
And with that, he ushers you out again. Okay. And next up is Mr. Fletcher. So Ford, if you could unmute, that's brilliant. And this is much the same deal. You're taken off by an attendant, and she shows you into this room where there's a uniformed police officer, and sitting next to it, there's a man in plain clothes. So, good afternoon, sir. Could you give me your name, please?
Oh yeah, hi. I'm Cam Fletcher from Michigan, United States, town Bear Park.
Oh yes, Mr. Fletcher. Yes, we've got you down here. And you're just coming from Greece. You've only been in Greece.
I was in for a couple days in Western Turkey, over there by where they have the digs for Troy. But I spent most of my time in Greece. Yes, sir.
You did. And did you pack your bags yourself, Mr. Fletcher?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you see anything unusual on the flight?
Nothing that I could see off the top of my head. It was a rather uneventful flight until we landed here.
Are you carrying any weapons or prohibited substances with?
No, sir. No, sir. I have no reason to. I'm carrying nothing. That kind.
While he's doing this, the uniformed officer is checking your passport and your documents. Could you make a spot hidden roll for me, please, Ford?
No, I failed.
Okay. You didn't encounter anyone unusual when you were at the airport in Athens? Nothing untoward in the day or so leading up to you getting the plane?
Well, nothing that I could tell is unusual. Lots of odd people. I mean, I guess for normal for Greece, but nothing really crazy.
And I take it as read that you've never had any connection with any prescribed organizations or terrorist groups?
Oh, goodness, no. Not at all. I would never have anything to do with that sort of thing.
Could you make another spot hidden roll for me, please?
Sure. I am completely oblivious.
Okay. Well, he thanks you for your time and ushers you out of the waiting room.
Thank you, sir.
And the attendant duly brings in the next person, who is Father Damiolus.
Hello, what is all this about?
Well, it's I'd like to say it was routine, sir, but the truth is that we believe we're looking for a suspected terrorist. There's been an incident.
Terrorist? Oh my goodness.
Yes. May I take your name, please, sir?
Yes, I'm Father Damielos Grigoritis.
Okay, and if you'd just like to hand your passport and documents to my associate here, he'll check those over. Have you encountered anyone on your trip who was acting suspiciously?
Suspiciously? No, not really. Being a Greek Orthodox priest, even in Greece, especially in the airport, people ask you who you are, what, they don't know, even though they're everywhere in Greece.
There were no unusual occurrences in the airport or on the plane?
Nothing that I can remember, no.
And are you carrying any weapons or contraband of any kind?
No.
Make a spot hidden roll for me, please.
Yeah. I am on my way back to my parish in Norbiton. Spot hidden. No.
Okay. And so you're not flying on anywhere after this?
No.
I see. Okay. Well, that all seems to check out. Everything's on the list. Make another spot hidden roll for me.
I'm hoping there's no delay. I believe somebody is waiting to take me from the. I passed that one from the.
Could you give me your role and your spot hidden skill?
Yeah, my spot hidden skill is, where is it again? Spot hidden is 25, and I got a 17.
You got 17. Oh, unfortunately, that's plus 15, so that's also unsuccessful. Well, we'll try not to keep you too long. There, as we say, there's been an incident. We're going to assemble you all after we've interviewed you, and
of course
we'll attempt to explain what's happened.
I most definitely do want to cooperate with anything that you might have.
Well, that's very good of you. I mean, we don't want to inconvenience anyone. But we find ourselves in a rather unusual situation, as I believe will become clear. If you'd like to return to the waiting area,
Of course. Mick, what
And,
year is it?
It's 1987.
1987. Okay. Thank you.
And with that, you will shown out into the waiting room. And the attendant then ushers Mr. Lisbon.
That's me.
Good afternoon, sir. Would you be kind enough to give your documents to my associate here and tell me your name
Yes, sir. My name is Rod Lisbon,
and your nationality?
American.
And are you flying just from Greece? You haven't visited any other countries on your trip?
Correct.
And you're flying straight back to the United States from here?
Yes.
You are. That sounds perfectly straightforward. Could you make a spot hidden roll for me, please, Joe?
That is a pass, regular.
In that case, I'm going to have to ask everyone else to take their headphones off for a second, please.
Who's asking me the questions? The suited man or the police officer?
The suited man is asking you the questions, and
Okay.
the other one is just checking the documents. While he's checking this, you find yourself sort of absent-mindedly looking about the room, and you notice that in the corner of the room, in fact, in two of the corners of the room, there are small video cameras. This is 1987, and video surveillance isn't common at this point, even in airports. I mean, you're used to seeing maybe a big dome with a rotating camera in here and there in high security areas, but to be in a room with two video cameras at you is certainly unusual.
Hmm.
And the questioning resumes. Mr. Lisbon, may I ask, in the airport in Athens or in the couple of days before, did you encounter anyone who you might think was acting suspiciously or unusually?
No, nothing springs to mind.
And there were no unusual events or seemingly out of place events that occurred on the plane?
Not that I noticed.
I see. And you're not carrying any weapons or contraband?
I personally don't consider it a weapon, but I have a multi-tool in my luggage.
Oh no, that's nothing. We're not interested in anything like that. Could you make another spot hidden roll for me, please?
Fail. 73 out of 60.
Okay. And with that, you're shown from the room. We'll, if you'd like to take a seat, we'll get someone out momentarily to explain what's going on.
Okay.
Just that there's been an incident. It's all rather unusual, and it's something I think it's best to explain to you as a group, because I'm sure lots of you will have questions about what's going on.
Okay.
And with that, he shows you, the attendant shows you back out into the hall, and invites Mr. Banks into the room. And again, it follows the same procedure. He asks Mr. Banks for his documents and his passport. And perhaps could you perhaps tell me your name, sir?
The name's Bill Banks.
And your nationality?
From London. I'm English.
And are you ending your trip here?
That's right. I live in London.
And you were just in Greece. You didn't visit any other countries while you were away?
No, just in Greece, visiting a client of mine. Like how I see that's any of your fucking business, but it's fine.
Let's try and moderate your language, please, sir. I mean, I am an officer of the law, and if that continues, I will have you on a Section 5 public order offence.
Apologies.
I understand that everyone's tempers are flared, but let's try and keep it civil. We are trying to help you here. Did you, when you were in the airport, or in the couple of days before you left, did you encounter anyone behaving suspiciously on your trip?
No, pretty much keep to myself.
And there were no unusual events on the plane that come to mind. Nothing untoward or out of the ordinary.
Pretty sure I told you, officer. Just trying to get home.
Could you make a spot hidden roll for me, please?
It's a 79, so I do not pass.
Okay. Well, there's been something of an incident, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to send everyone out, and then we're going to make a statement, try and explain what's going on, and get you out here as soon as is practicable. If you'd like to move outside, we'll deal with that. Oh, sorry, I just need you to make another spot hidden roll as well before you leave the room.
That is a 3. That is a extreme pass.
Okay. In that case, if you'd all like to take off your headphones, and when I give the thumbs up, if just Bill could come back, would be easier. Okay. Something rather weird. No, that's it. Right. Brilliant. When you caught the plane, you did so on August 11th. But looking around this room, you see there's a calendar. And the calendar is turned to September, and someone has crossed September the 1st with an X.
Okay.
Are you carrying any weapons or contraband with you, sir? You've lost your sound there.
No, sir. Just small backpack and my laptop.
Okay. A laptop in 1987. This big.
Oh,
That would be the backpack.
it's just my backpack.
An amazing 48K memory. Okay,
I
well,
may have gone a bit overboard on my my electronics skill.
well, if you'd like to take a seat outside, sir, we're going to have someone make a statement and explain what's going on to you, and hopefully we can get you out of here as soon as possible. We understand everyone's a bit upset. We don't want to keep anyone here any longer than we have to. So if you'd like to just sit down, we'll work through the rest of these interviews, and then we'll get you on as soon as possible.
Appreciate it, officer. If you could hurry it up, though, it'd be much appreciated.
Okay, and with that, you're shown out of the room. And finally,
I am here.
Finally, they bring you in, Mr. Bathington, and it's the same procedure. Could I, if you could hand your passport and other documents to my associate here? May I ask your name, please, sir?
I'm Nigel Bathington of London, sir. London.
And you're returning home, I take it.
I am from Greece.
And you only went to Greece. You didn't visit any other countries on your trip.
I had barely made it to Greece.
I see. You're not carrying any weapons or contraband with you?
Weapons? No. My late wife may think that I'm carrying a weapon sometimes, but no weapons, sir.
Could you make a spot hidden roll for me, please, Bill?
Fail.
Okay. You didn't encounter anyone acting suspiciously when you were in Greece, especially in the couple of days before you caught the plane or at the airport?
There was a dodgy waiter who wouldn't give me seconds on ouzo, but other than that, no.
And did you? Was there anything unusual or untoward that occurred on the flight itself?
There was a dodgy stewardess who wouldn't give me seconds on whiskey, but no.
Oh, I see. Could you make another spot hidden roll for me, please?
Come on. 18, and my spot hidden is 60.
Ah. You're sort of uncomfortably looking around the room, and your eyes fall on a calendar on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
which unnerves you a little because the calendar appears to be turned to page for September, and September the 1st is marked with a red X.
Mm-hmm.
This strikes you as somewhat unusual because you know full well that when you boarded the plane, it was August the 11th.
Are the years the same?
Yes, it's a 1987 calendar.
But we just seem to have moved ahead a couple of weeks.
About 3 weeks, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, if that's everything, sir, if you'd like to go back into the waiting room, and we're going to get someone in there to...
Could you get
try and
someone to serve some drinks?
I think we could probably get some tea in for you, sir.
Oh, good show. Good show. Yes, absolutely. Capital.
Well, if that's everything, if you'd like to return to the other room, and
Yes.
we'll let you know what's going on in due course.
Yeah, let's
With
get
that,
that
he
tea
shows
cracking,
you-
shall we? Let's get some tea
Yes.
going.
And he shows you back out into the hall. We'll wait for the others to join us. So, God, my dog's really needy tonight. Having all been interviewed, and the other 9 people who are with you, you find yourself at a bit of a loose end, sitting in the hallway, waiting. Someone eventually comes around with some not particularly pleasant tea. And eventually, a man in a dark blue suit arrives and asks for your attention. He's surrounded by 2 customs officers. And says, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not entirely certain how to begin, but how can I put this? There's been an incident.
What sort of
You-
incidents?
Well, it's rather difficult to explain, really. You see, as I'm sure you all know, you boarded your flight on August the 11th.
Yes.
Well, in short, flight 1743 left Athens at its allotted time on August the 11th, and somewhere between the coast of France and this airport, it disappeared. At first, we assumed it was some form of communications failure. Then we thought that perhaps the aircraft had crashed without warning. And then I'm afraid the after what I'm sure everyone would agree was an exhaustive search effort. The plane was given up for lost.
That's absurd. Obviously, we are here. How could you?
Well, you are indeed here, sir. But I can assure you, today is September the 1st.
Whoa, wait! What? What'd you say?
The first.
September
dog,
1st.
my dog
What
better
the fuck
be.
are you saying?
What?
Well, your plane was.
Is my dog okay? He was in the hold. Where's my bulldog?
Anything that was in the hold with you seems to be okay. We'll get someone to check on that right away for you, sir. And he fiddles around and dispatches one of the other workers off to just go and look into that, find out what the bloody dog is.
What the?
You're telling us that a few days have somehow gone by.
No, he's talking weeks.
2 days?
Yes, it's about 3 weeks really.
I better
3
have a
weeks.
nice funeral waiting for me.
Wait. So we've been gone 3 weeks?
That's ridiculous.
I thought so.
I'd say so.
It is. We have no explanation for what's happened. We've had some very some very highly qualified people from a number of institutions have been here trying to find out what's going on. But we as we say, we just assumed the plane was lost, and now that you've suddenly turned up out of the blue, we have no more idea than you do. I mean, no one on the plane seems to have reported anything unusual happening. There doesn't seem to have been anything that interfered with the flight. We've yet to study the flight recorder, but the crew assures us that nothing untoward has happened to them. They've just had a straight flight from Athens.
I've got one word: remuneration. Remuneration.
No.
Yes.
Wait, let's not get ahead of ourselves. My very strong belief now is that we are being, what do they call it? Pranked. This is not possible. You're talking.
I can assure you, sir, this isn't an episode of Game for a Laugh. This has genuinely happened.
Well, you better find out quick.
Hey, what organization you with there with the British government there, man?
I'm just with the British Aviation Authority, sir. BAA.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'd like to talk to the American consulate as soon as possible. I mean,
we will of course arrange that for you. I believe that they will have someone waiting on the other side of the gate. That
we've been gone 3 weeks.
Yeah, this seems like
I bet the Sun would want to interview me.
Well, that is entirely up to you, sir. The only thing we've been asked to do is to request that those of you who are not UK nationals will of course be offered accommodation. But I'm very sorry to tell you that owing to the rather unusual nature of this event, you will not be allowed to leave the country, possibly for several days, while we attempt to find out what's going on. I mean, we will, of course, the airline will, of course, facilitate a hotel for you in central London.
It's not a problem for me. I live right downtown. Am I free to go?
Well, you're going to have to go through checkout and customs as usual. But yes, I mean, you're all free to go. For those of you who are not UK nationals, you will be allocated directions to a hotel where you can stay and freshen up and so forth. But we will need to contact all of you at some point over the next few days.
Well, sir, I'd like to go to a hotel, but I want to go to the American consulate. I mean, if this is ridiculous. 3 weeks.
We're sure someone from the consulate will get in touch with you, sir.
Is it permitted for us to use a telephone?
There are telephones on the other
Yes.
side of the customs enclosure. Once you've picked up your baggage, sir. Yes.
Yeah, missed the feast of the
We
dormition.
should probably warn you that there is a bit of a media scrum out there as well.
Oh.
Quite a lot
I bet I could be on that Terry Wogan show.
Yeah.
I just have to get to my congregation and explain.
Yes, of course, sir. Well, if you'd like to come this way, we'll try and get you through the baggage check as quickly as possible. At this point, I'd like you all to make another spot hidden roll, please.
I hope that Andrew isn't still waiting for me in the lobby. Ooh, I got a 7.
I got a 13.
I passed.
To miss.
Totally oblivious.
Those of you who did pass.
Me too.
You notice that as you're being led into the customs enclosure, with a very striking looking woman, very striking looking Greek woman, wearing a green headscarf and dark glasses. It looks very, very sophisticated looking woman. She speaks. You can't hear her at that distance, but you see her having some sort of chat with one of the baggage. What do you call them?
Handlers, baggage handlers.
Baggage
handlers, yeah, customs
Yeah.
officers. Customs officer. She's having a chat with the customs officer, and she says something to him, and then he just waves her straight through. Which, given that there's quite a large queue of people waiting to get through customs, strikes you as somewhat unusual.
She's probably famous or something. It's Barbara Streisand, but the Greek version.
So she leaves the room, disappearing with a few other passengers from that flight. By the time you've managed to make it through baggage check to the other side, the concourse is jammed with reporters, TV crews, concerned relatives who are even more people are turning up as you're walking through. More people are turning up and coming through the doors into the arrivals lounge. There seems to be a bit of a hoo-ha going on. Everyone seems to have discovered that the flight's landed at the same time, and they've descended en masse onto the airport trying to find out what's happening. There are lights flashing. There are television reporters, and riches for dice in an uncomfortable manner. Nigel,
Yes, sir.
as you're coming out, once again, you see this rather striking Greek woman, just as she's being approached by a TV reporter and a cameraman. Make a listen roll.
Was she one of the people on our plane?
Yes. You vaguely recall seeing her at Athens Airport.
I did not make my listen roll.
Okay. In that case, we'll see who's next to you. Who's next to you is Mr. Fletcher. If you would like to also make a listen roll.
Hard pass. I got wind of it.
Okay. Well, you overhear snippets of a conversation between the reporter and this woman. A conversation which goes something like this. Miss, would you like to say a few words about your experiences on the flight? You don't want to talk to me. We don't want to talk to her. What? Says the cameraman. You'd better erase that. Sorry. You'd better erase that tape and interview someone else. Forget about me. I'd better erase this tape, says the cameraman. Oh, we'll move to this gentleman next. And they move towards to you, Cam. Would you like to say a few
Hi.
words about your experiences on the flight, sir?
I'm trying to get my bearings here. It's kind of odd. Yeah. Not sure what's
Can you
going
tell
on.
us perhaps what happened on the flight, where everyone has been for these last few weeks?
I have no idea.
Does anyone?
No idea.
Have you talked to anyone who seems to have a clue about what's going on? The pilot or any of the crew, or has anyone
I
seen
think everybody's just as clueless as I am on this. I've never had anything like this happen to me.
it? How do you
crazy.
respond, sir, to suggestions that that you may have been abducted by aliens? The cameraman starts sniggering.
What?
There's no bloody aliens. Come on. You're pulling the other leg.
What, go, just leave me alone. This is no. Go away.
Oh, look, says the cameraman. Look, there's Martin Douglas from Channel 4. Go and talk to him, quick. And they rush off, leaving you there.
Aliens. People see aliens after a good stiff drink.
Well, those of you who were expecting to be met at the airport, if any of you were expecting to be met at the airport, might want to make a luck roll at this point.
Well, I imagine somebody from my congregation will show up if they're watching the news.
I rolled a 8.
I passed.
Were you being met by someone in the
Yes,
UK?
I am. Yep.
Okay, well, those of you who are being met, let's say, well, I'm only really interested. Who got the highest mark? Who got the highest roll?
I got an 8 out of 55.
I got 51 out of 60.
Okay, so Corey, who is meant to be meeting you?
It's my my niece.
Okay. I'll say both of you have the people turn up who are meant to be meeting you. And they're very relieved to see you. And again, full of the same kind of questions. What happened to you? How on earth did you end up? You're 3 weeks late. Where have you been?
Demonies.
This is extraordinary. Everyone thought we all thought the plane had crashed or something.
It is some sort of trick of the devil. I do not know.
Yeah, it seems rather fishy.
Well, I suppose we better we should really leave.
How is everybody? How is the congregation? I was not here for the feast of the Dormition, and I'm sure you all think that I am dead.
Oh yes, everyone. You've been Father Yanis from Stamford Hill.
Well, we have to contact Archbishop Theodoros and contact him and make sure. Shall we just go?
Yes. I think that's for the best. Can I help any of your friends with a lift? We've brought the minibus from the.
We're heading to Norbit. I can never say this word. Norbiton. It's near Kingston College, Hinton University. If you're going in that,
if any of your friends from the flight here need a lift into
yes, of course, we will take anyone who wants to go.
We could certainly oblige. There's plenty of room.
I've got to wait for my dog.
Oh, that would have been, yes. Your dog would have been. You would have collected your dog during the whole customs procedure.
Winston, who's a good dog? Who's a good dog?
He seems perfectly fine.
He's the beautiful French bulldog. His name is Winston, after Winston Churchill.
Except he says, I am, sir. I'm a good dog.
I'm a good dog. Right, man.
He's also 14 years older.
Yeah. But that's only 7 in dog years.
Okay, so you leave the arrivals lounge, and once again you see that same woman, the same Greek woman, heads to the head of a queue of taxis. There's about quite a lot of people. There's about 15 or 16 people waiting for a taxi.
We all see this?
Yeah, you all see this. And she walks to the head of the queue, says something to the 4 or 5 people at the front of the queue, and then just jumps in the next cab and goes.
It's like she has some sort of power over them. And I say a quiet little prayer, Lord Jesus Christ.
Her powers are called boobs, son. Boobs. I know you might not see that, Father, but they'll get them where they need to go.
Inclined to
So
agree,
you're
but
all ushered into this minibus again. And,
whoa, hey!
Pardon?
Well, am I not just going with Andrew? Is the minibus is his?
Yes, it's the congregation's minibus. For outings and trips, and he's quite happy to offer everyone else a lift into London.
Yeah, if you could just drop me off at the American consulate, that'd be cool.
Yes, of course. Yes, we're going. We've got
That's right downtown. You just take me there, it'd be fine.
Yep, that's fine. We're more than happy to do that. It takes you quite a while to get out of the airport, though. There's a massive backlog of traffic. There's so many rubberneckers and press people have turned up. This is quite an event. This is clearly been on all over the news that this plane has turned up, and everyone's turning up just to see what's going on. Although no one knows anything, so particularly about what they hope to guess is anyone's business. But could you all make another spot hidden roll for me, please?
As a 1, that'll be a very, very extreme pass.
Oh well, in that case,
extreme pass for me too. I'm at 7.
I made it 25 out of 70. So
okay. Well, for those of you who make the pass, as you're sitting in the minibus in the traffic, you can see that about 7 or 8 cars in front of you is the taxi with the Greek woman, who just appears to be sitting quietly in the cab, in the middle of a traffic jam, basically. And over the next 10 minutes, you sort of edge a little closer, and then a little further away, and then a little closer again, and then a little further away, as you slowly work your way out of the airport. By the time you leave, her cab's about 2 cars in front of you.
Okay.
Are we all together then?
You're currently all together in the minibus, yes.
Okay.
Is Andrew going to drop you all off wherever you need it? No problem at all.
He's perfectly happy to do
Thank you, Padre. Do appreciate it there.
In fact, on the way into London, because everyone's heading into central London, you see this woman in her cab several times.
Seems weird to be keep seeing this woman over and over and over again.
Does anybody recognize her?
Oh, that weird. She was on the flight, wasn't she?
I'm gonna get her.
I vaguely saw her there.
Yeah.
Supposed to.
I
Maybe she's
bet
part
she
of the
was up in
servers.
first class, drinking expensive champagne. Well, we're all packed like sardines in the back, being denied drinks. by the waitress, steward.
Well, she definitely has some kind of influence, I guess.
Yeah.
Perhaps she was a famous person. I did not see her face, so I don't know.
Like
The
She was
government.
quite a striking looking woman, but you don't recognize her from anywhere other than you saw her briefly before you left Athens. You don't recall seeing her on the plane. But then you saw her again when you got off the plane, and she was among the group of people who were waiting. You went in and she was interviewed, just like you were.
And I don't think it's that unusual that we're all heading in toward London, in towards the city. She's simply heading in the same way we are.
I'm gonna ask you something, but if you say no, that's fine. I'm just curious if we come up to a red light, could I jump out and get her autograph?
My goodness! Oh well, this is not Greece. I'm so used to this.
Make a luck roll.
You would be taking your life into your hands if you jump out of the car.
Yeah, that's it. With all this traffic and stuff,
Yeah.
it's worse than New York.
But we're barely moving, so.
Yeah, it's a traffic jam. 89 is not good.
push it, come on.
Yeah, you can if you want. Go on.
You never do, so I'm gonna do it.
You don't need luck in this game.
Yeah. Let's see what we get here.
Spend it.
You can technically ask for what the consequences will be if you fail.
Too late. 74.
Well, you get out of the red lights and you approach her car.
What the hell is he doing?
Tap on the windshield.
He rolls down the window and just looks at you quizzically.
Can I get your autograph? And I wave a pen in her face. And
Can everyone else please take their headphones off for a moment?
vroom.
You're not exactly sure what happens next. You remember the woman rolling down the window. You remember asking for her autograph and proffering
What's the score, Dad?
the pen towards her. And then the next thing you know, you're kind of feeling a bit weirdly fuzzy, and you're standing outside the minibus in the traffic with dozens of cars beeping at you. The cab is about 40 feet up the road, and you can't quite remember what you're doing in the road.
Okay.
And and it takes you just a moment to realize that you should probably get back in the minibus.
Yep.
And you can't quite remember why you got out. There was something about a taxi or something. It all seems very uncertain now. So,
My God, is he crazy?
For the rest of you, Rod gets out of the car and you see him walk over to the taxi, and he taps on the window. You see the window comes down, the woman looks out. He says something and waves a pen at her. Then from inside, you can just about make out that she says something to him. Then the taxi drives off, and Rod just stands there in the road for about 5 or 6 seconds, looking confused,
Grab him.
with
Grab him as we go by.
cars beeping at him, and just sort of looking back at the minibus like he's not
I'm yelling like,
sure
"Get in!"
what he's doing.
Oh, hey, get in!
Quickly, just grab him. Grab him.
And I will try and go and grab him.
This is why they should not serve drinks on the airplane.
Oh, he's only like sort of 5 or 6 feet away from the thing. It's quite easy to get him, grab him, and get him back in. Yeah.
Pull him back inside.
Come on, son. Come on him back in. It's all right. We all get turned down to the best of us. It's all right.
What happened? Was that? Did we just do like a Chinese fire drill?
What were you thinking,
man?
What were you thinking?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Did you get her autograph?
Her what?
She cute?
Yeah, she's good looking.
All right.
I mean, from what I could tell, she had a scarf on and sunglasses.
Well, mate, for all their troubles, you at least get a number.
Yeah, I looked down at my paper and my pen, and I don't see anything written right.
What time of day is it?
It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, okay. I keep seeing it's all in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Same here.
I just want to get to the consulate.
He's not there.
It's too much. This is too much.
Need to get home and feed Winston. He's looking peckish. We'll go down to the pub tonight, won't we? Won't we? Yes, we will. We'll go have a pint.
Well, Nigel, I bet you know a few places downtown.
I do, son. I do. My favorite pub's the Moscow.
Well, Nigel, William, and Father Damiolis, you can by various means. Well, obviously, Father Damiolis has the minibus, but the minibus drops you all off. But
It is pronounced Damielos.
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 Father Damielos.
It's a good father drink.
You'll all be dropped off at you'll all be dropped off at your respective homes. Whereas Messrs. Lisbon, Fletcher, and I can't remember the name of Corey's character because I haven't got his character sheet.
Lieutenant Francis Nelson.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So Messrs. Nelson, Fletcher, and Lisbon, you're dropped off at the hotel just off Russell Square called.
Well, hey, I wanted to go to the consulate, not the hotel.
Ye Olde Oak Tree. And,
no offense, but I don't want to go to this hotel. I want to go to the consulate.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's
not that far a walk, I'm guessing.
It's not that far at all. They can drop you off at the consulate, and then you can make your way to the hotel. You've been given, with the reservations for the hotel, you've been given a small map of the area, which can show you.
Calm down, Fletch. Come have a beer with us.
So they're just drop.
Beer sounds good, but I want to check in with my guys there and see what they got to say.
Nah, you could do. Yeah, just come for a beer, then you could have gone for that after.
What's your consulate ever done for you? Nothing.
Well, I don't know. I've never been to the consulate, so I can't say one way or another.
Well, the consulate is in Grosvenor Square, which is quite central London. It's near Hyde Park, I think. Or is it St James's Park? It's one or the other. It's near a park.
Probably.
Okay.
You know, a park.
So are you going beer or embassy?
Embassy.
Embassy. Okay.
As much as I need a beer, I need to go to the embassy first.
Okay.
Of course,
what
we
about
will
everyone
drop
else?
you off at the embassy.
And the others, are you going for drinks or back to the hotel
I'm
or?
following Nigel back to his whatever the watering hole he prefers is.
Well, me and Winston like to go to the Moscow pub. It's a very good pub. And it's right around the corner from my flat. You know, the one I used to share with my late wife, Regina. God bless her soul. So if you
Well-
want to go to the pub with me, fine, we'll take you.
I'm with
I'll tell
Nigel.
you
I
what.
am.
First round's on y'all. So yeah. Sure.
I'll tell you what, guys. Let me take care of stuff over at the consulate, and then I'll see about going to joining you at the pub afterwards. If they'll let me. I just want to get to my people there. I mean, this is just way too much for me. I just need a little time and connection with the Americans here.
I'm going to introduce myself to you, Fletcher. My name's Lisbon. I'm also from the States.
Hey, yes, yes.
What is your? Why do you want to go to the consulate? I've never been in this situation, so I might follow you.
Well, this is an unusual situation, and I'm not a citizen of the United Kingdom, and I just want to go. I want to touch in with our people there. I mean, it's the only right thing to do when you're in a bad situation. You go to the consulate or to the embassy, and when you're out of the country.
Okay. Well, he's got me a little nervous, so I'm going to ask do you mind if I follow you then?
Sure.
So I'll go with you, Fletcher.
All right. Sounds good.
And what about Mr. Nielsen?
I'm going to go to the pub.
Okay. In that case, the minibus drops off Fletcher and Lisbon at the American Embassy, which is in Grosvenor Square, and Mr. Nielsen, Mr. Buddington, and Mr. Banks they disembark at the Moscow pub, wherever that might be, before Father Damiolis heads off back to his.
It's a legit pub I used to go to when I went into London on the weekends. I don't know if it still exists, but it was there in 1982.
So as we
I would have been
drive,
11. I was only just beginning to go to pubs at that age.
Thank you. I don't feel that old.
I was still drinking a gin and Marmite. That was my youth.
I did have a drink with Dave Vanian of the Damned there, so that's all I got to say about that.
So as Andrew and I drive off to the church, I ask him, I say, so according to my calculations, it's been a couple of weeks now since you've had your last confession. Is there anything that you would like to tell me?
Oh, Father, it's been chaos. We've been so worried. We've been,
Are you still having that little problem with the masturbation?
Well, I haven't had time. We've been. The Father Yanis is he's a difficult man. A difficult man to do.
Yes.
No, I've tried my best, but everything I do is wrong. He's an old man. He's very much set in his ways. There's no give and take.
Well, in a few years, he'll probably be dead, and then we won't have this problem anymore. God rest his soul. All right. And we go off into the night, or into the afternoon.
At the embassy, the American embassy, like the majority of embassies around the world, they make a big show of helping their citizens in need. But when push comes to shove, don't actually like to do anything. doing things usually involves stirring people up or treading on toes or tails.
Paperwork,
Cthulhu.
lots of forms to fill out.
Yes, there's lots of, and it's something they like to avoid. They're generally here because they like the romance of living in another country, and getting well paid for it. In this case, I mean, even allowing for the fact that essentially you have a certain degree of celebrity because you're one of the people from Flight 1743. They know about as much about it as you do. The investigation, you're told, first of all, they thought it was a communications failure, as you were told previously. Then they thought that you just crashed, that it possibly had been some sort of terrorist bombing. They looked into all of the possibilities. They had ships out searching for wreckage. Now you've not been legally declared dead, but people from the State Department have contacted your families, and have essentially told them to prepare for the worst. What he does offer to do, however, is he arranges for you to phone your families back in the US, and you're each shown separately into a small office with a phone.
No, that's what Cam wants to do. He wants to contact his family, his business, make sure all that's ironed out, and then talk with the consulate about arrangements to get back home and what needs to be done with that, and just to get out of the situation back to normality.
The British authorities would very much like you to stay in the country for a few days, and until they can find out what happened. They want to go through the flight log, the flight recorder.
Fair enough.
But he doesn't seem to have any more idea than you do. In fact, actually, when each of you, when you're on your own, when you've finished your calls to your families, he sort of tries to pump you for information himself. Just did you
I give him what little I have.
He said that the tabloids have been full of stories about alien abductions and people getting shot down by missiles and all sorts of stories. There was even rumored for a while that you'd all been kidnapped and were going to be held hostage by the Libyans for a ransom.
I'm sure a lot of crazy stuff.
Shocked. They're all quite shocked.
That's tabloids for you.
Well, we really didn't think we'd see any of you again. I mean, it's been 3 weeks, and not a scrap of anything. I mean, we believe that. I think someone said that there was the last radar blip was you coming in somewhere on the south coast, and that was about it, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I
couldn't tell you where. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to do the accent. But,
no problem. No problem.
He's an American, so he sounds like an American. He says, "I couldn't tell you where, man. That you came in over the south coast, man." And, see, I can do it as well.
That's as good as my British accent.
Yeah. As long as
right.
Cam.
So they came in over the south coast, right? And like us Americans say, and
you're drifting in Australia there a little bit.
Coast. It's, I don't know what part of the south coast they came in over.
See, that one works absolutely.
That one does work. That was actually legitimate.
I says, but yeah, I mean, 1 minute the plane. What I heard anyway. Look, I shouldn't even tell you this, but what I heard was that 1 minute the plane was there on the radar, and the next minute just gone. And my friend upstairs, who's who's a trade envoy, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
He said that when they picked up your plane again, coming back in today, it came right back in at the same point where it had been when it blipped off before.
Wow.
Make of that what you will.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know any more than you do, but
Right.
it's a hell of a
Right.
story. Play this, or you could be dining out on that for a long time. Maybe even
Well,
get some chat shows.
Yeah. Well, basically, when Cam gets comfortable and realizes everything's cool, and he's talked with his people and calmed them down and let them know he's all right and gone through all the hullabaloo with that, then he'll be a lot more comfortable to follow along with.
Yeah, I mean they've arranged it hotel for y'all and y'all.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Y'all.
That's it. Yeah. And they've arranged a hotel for Y''ALL, which I can't pronounce properly with my ridiculous teeth. But it sounds like a pretty reasonable hotel. I mean, my advice to you is just enjoy a few free days in a decent hotel and fly back to your family.
Okay, sir. I'll go ahead and do that for a while. I've already talked to my family and my guys and stuff and business and everything's good with that. So yeah, I'll stick around and do what's necessary. But I just want to get home as soon as possible.
Okay, so if I can't do anything more for you,
How about a business card in case things go wonky here?
oh yeah. Here's my card.
Yeah, that would be good.
Frank.
Coat.
Frank Lugg.
All right, there,
Frank
Mr. Lugg. I'll
PI.
get back with you there.
No.
Okay. Well, Consulate Secretary Lugg. Okay, all right. I'll be in touch if anything comes up.
Okay, you do that.
Yeah.
Why, you're the. Sorry. I do apologize. I was in the mood for a hate crime.
No, you don't apologize. You don't. You really don't.
That's
So,
right. You all come back.
So with that, you can easily get a cab from outside. We'll take you back to
Right.
we'll take you on to the hotel.
All
Your
right.
luggage would have been sent to the hotel as well.
Okay.
That was explained to you. The thing, if you're not, if you are from the UK, then you would have taken your luggage with you. If not, it would have been sent on to the hotel. Basically, everyone is being sent to the same 2 or 3 hotels. They somehow managed to find a hotel that wasn't booked up in September. Perhaps they reserved rooms for just this occasion. I don't know. But they've somehow.
Well, Rob, do you want to try and go meet everybody else at the pub? I could use a freaking beer right about now.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
All right. Take care of stuff at the hotel and then head on over. Call a cab for a beer over at the Moscow.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's say about an hour later, you will find yourself arriving at the pub.
And it's in Bayswater, and it's very popular with the goths and the punks in the 80s. So you may see people walking around with a lot of black. And Nigel's just kind of oblivious. Him and the dog come in. He's got the dog on the leash, and everyone seems to know him. And, so this is his pub. So, but it's definitely a younger, noisier, gothic, punk rock, Doc Martens and leather jackets type pub.
Boy, Nigel, where the fuck you take us, man?
It's my pub. These are my people.
These fucking people are fucking bloody brilliant. It's fucking music is fantastic.
Oh, it's all noise unless it's Sinatra or, Tony Bennett, you know.
Tony
But,
Benn.
you know, the kids seem to like it and they'll buy me drinks if I say it's good. So and they take good care of Winston. Such good care of Winston.
Oh, your dog's fucking bloody brilliant, man.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't take you that long to get there, does it? Because it's on the other side of Hyde Park.
Mhm.
So, Ways water.
Well, when Cam comes in, he's just totally bewildered. He doesn't deal with punks or goths or anything like that. He's just a guy from a little town, and it's like he's like going, "What the?" Yeah, it's just a look on his face is, "What the heck did I just step into?"
Oh, Cam, come here, brother. Come here.
Hey, hi there. Whoa. What's with everybody dressed like Uncle Fester here, huh?
Oh, come on now, son. Step up to the bar. Step up to the bar.
Through the crowd.
All right. Well, what do you recommend to drink here?
Whatever doesn't drink you first.
All right. Give me a pint of the special, I guess. Hey.
All right, let's get him going here. Let's give him a snake bite. Snake bites are good.
Yeah, if you can, give me a pint, please.
Okay, I'll take a pint of snake bite there, eh?
Snake bites are delicious. You'll like them.
All right.
And given that it's September 1987, this corrosion by Sisters.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Some Sisters of Mercy. Some Sisters of Mercy is always good.
I ask, can I get a pint of Kilkenny, please?
Yeah, the bloke behind the bar just sort of looks at you. So we've got Foster's, Stella, I think there's Worthingtons, there's a couple of Hampolds and John Smiths. Oh, hang on. And Green King.
Actually, give me some of that Green King.
If you're sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Find a Green King.
I take it.
Oh.
That's £1.10p. Because it's 1987 and you could get a fucking pint for £1.10p in 1987.
A five or so.
Thank you.
So I was just caught up in nostalgia for only paying a quid for a pint of beer. Let's carry on. Right, so okay, will you find a table? Well, they've already got a table, so you sit down at the table with the other two. And,
Snake bite, eh?
Yeah, it's half lager and half cider.
if you're proper goth, it'd be snake pint.
Hey,
Black.
it's not half bad there, eh?
Mm.
Cider and wow,
Yeah, you can get them made today. They're great.
kind of like what they call Arnold Palmer there, huh? But with booze.
What's that got to do with the golfer?
Oh, yeah, Arnold Palmer. It's you mix tea with lemonade.
Did they have that in '87?
Never had one of those.
I don't think so.
I don't think they had it in '87.
Out of character. Okay. Well.
So we need to get the Padre involved.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd go for this place. I mean, I don't see too many of his parishioners there with pink mohawks.
Oh, boys, look, what the fuck happened to us today?
That's what I've been thinking about all day today. Or 3 weeks, I guess. This is crazy.
Fucking show up on September 1st. We took off on August 11th. What the hell happened?
It's like one of those Twilight Zone episodes where the goblin's on the wing and Captain Kirk's afraid. I think one word, remuneration. We need to get lawyers. We need to get reimbursed. We need to get book deals. We need to get on that Terry Wogan show. We need to get on Page 3. We need to make this
I wouldn't
count.
know any
No,
of that.
I ain't interested in a shit bit of that, man. I just want to know what the fuck happened to us.
Yeah, I honestly, I just want to know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Well, on such terms, but yeah, I'd like to know what the heck happened to us.
So, completely out. Do we have any leads whatsoever? I mean, other than that Greek woman?
Only the Greek woman.
I don't think so.
Well, you know when the plane went missing, which would have been shortly before it was originally due to land.
All right, so something happened to us between the time we took off on August 11th and the time we landed 3 weeks later. None of you blokes know what the fuck we were doing in between then and now.
Do we know approximately how long the flight should have lasted?
Yeah, the flight would have been 1 hour and 55 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's short.
Instead, it was 3 weeks, 1 hour and 55 minutes.
How do we feel? Do we feel normal?
You feel perfectly fine. I mean, you've got a bit of a dry mouth from being on a plane for a while, but this is pre-smoking ban, so or is it?
But it's not like
Yeah,
we felt.
I think
It's
it
not
is
like we all
pretty
fell
smoky.
asleep and then all of a sudden we all woke up. You know, to us it was an hour and it was an hour and 55-minute
Yeah,
flight.
if you were
Yeah.
trying to rest, if you were trying
Right.
to rest or trying to sleep,
Right.
you would have been like normal aircraft thing. You know, you're
Yeah, just
find
a
yourself
normal flight to us.
drifting away, and then
Yeah.
you come round again. You know, someone's kid's crying, wakes you up.
Right.
There was absolutely nothing untoward on the flight at all.
So the only person we're missing right now of the group is the Padre.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could I check my watch?
Yep.
What time does my watch say?
Your watch is still it's still accurate, but it's still showing Greek time. You haven't changed.
So according to my watch, we basically just went on a 2-hour flight and then we got delayed with the questions and then so like everything's driving up. It's been roughly 3
Like
or
if we
4
have one
hours.
of those
There's no
Casio
interruption.
like if we have one of those Casio watches where it has day, date, and time,
Yep.
what does
would-
that show?
Yeah, I
it
was
still,
just about to say
it
that.
would still be showing the 11th of August.
Okay.
Weird.
Or Rod.
Can I
Is-
interrupt with a question really quick?
Please do.
Just in case there's a discrepancy, the email you sent us this afternoon said that our flight left at 9 p.m. but you said that
Yes,
we were
that
leaving
was purely an affectation because of the game time.
Okay. So the time that we left and the time that it is now jive, even though it's 3 weeks.
Yes, you would have actually left at about 11:30 in the morning,
Okay.
and the plane touched down at about 1:25.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
yours
a
says
little bit later, probably about 1:35. So you're probably like running a little bit late.
well, yeah, your email says 9:30 p.m. So
That's just because the game starts.
Okay.
And
So we back?
so the only difference being that your watches would still say the 11th of August, but let's say it's by now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, tea time.
All right,
And,
look, mate.
and your watch is saying 6. So you're
Look,
a couple
mate.
of hours.
We had no idea what the fuck happened. Rod's the
Yeah.
only one that even went and talked to anybody else on that plane. So, Rod, that woman, that Greek woman, what the fuck did she tell you?
What woman?
That woman
Oh,
you
the pretty
fucking
one?
jumped
Pretty one?
out of the van and talked to in the taxi, goddammit.
I don't remember what she said to me.
Seriously, you have no idea who the fuck that was.
I thought she was a movie star. I mean, I didn't know who, but I just figured I'd get her autograph and then later figure out who she was. But
Listen, brother, fair enough, but does it not make any sense to at least talk to some of the other folks that were on that plane?
Well, I don't know too much about that gal, but she seemed to be someone of influence there, maybe government or something, because she just talked to the people at the gate there, and they just let her through. I mean, she passed by like nothing. I mean, and either she's famous or she's got connections in the government or something. It's the only thing I could think of. Maybe both. Maybe she's a royalty or something. I don't know.
Well, remember when she talked to the reporters? You know, she said, well, you're going to let me go and you're going to erase that tape. And they repeated back, we're going to let you go and we're going to erase that tape.
What I heard something along those lines. Yeah. Well, maybe, like I said, maybe she's got some influence here. You know, maybe they recognize her and, you know, she got her way, you know?
And you catch where she's headed. No one's got a clue. Yeah, it's classic.
Well, I'm sure she's just as bewildered as the rest of us. Probably going and doing whatever she's doing.
wonder if the priest.
I don't think I'll take another snake bite.
Wonder if the priest recognizes her since they're both Greeks.
Yeah, they all know each other.
Yeah.
Come on.
They're neighbors.
Everybody knows everybody agrees.
No, I'm thinking if she's a movie star.
All I've got to say is that woman was clearly Greek, and the only person that's not at this meeting is the father, who's also clearly Greek. So I don't know what the fuck we're doing, but if we have any questions, it's gotta be for that guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the father's got his hands full with stuff. I mean, seem to be the only one who has responsibility at this point.
I'm retired. This is my responsibility, coming to the pub, walking my dog, smoking my pipe.
All I'm saying
Yeah,
is
we
that
should
maybe tomorrow we go visit him at the church. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, what's the meet
We're doing anything else.
I'm gonna ask you.
I doubt seriously he's got any ideas more than we do. I mean, he seemed as bewildered as us.
Retired from what there, Nigel?
I was a shopkeeper.
I'm a shopkeeper too. What you dealing?
Oh, you know, general store. Just, you know, my wife and I, we ran it for 50 years. Before
I have a hardware business there in Michigan.
Nice. We'll get along just
Not too
fine.
bad.
We'll talk shop.
Yeah, I like that.
How about you there, Mr. Banks? Oh, Mr. Banks is going to get another beer.
Yeah.
How about you there, Mr. Nelson?
Well, I'm off duty right now, but I was a cop.
Policeman.
Yeah. That's
You're on
why
vacation too, huh?
Yeah, I was on vacation, so that's why I had that gun on me. So
Fair enough.
All right, so it doesn't really seem like we have anything else that we want to do. So let's continue drinking and then go our separate ways. But let's maybe agree to meet at the church tomorrow.
Yeah, that
sounds good to me.
sounds. Do we know the address of this?
Well, let's say it was on the side of the van.
I was going to say just that. Yes.
Right. It's on the side of the van. That's, where when they were dropping us off. And that's,
And to be fair, like it was Norbiton, and finding a Greek Orthodox church in Norbiton, there's only going to be one.
Right.
There's not going to be 8 that you're going to have to choose from. Someone just trod on the on Winston's stubby little tail.
I'm actually going to grab a couple of coins and I'm going to walk over to the payphone. And I'm going to say I scribbled down the phone number on the side of the van, and I'm going to call the church.
Okay. And the I'm not familiar with the organization of
You'll probably get the church secretary.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was going to say lay person. And, hello?
Hello, can I speak to Father Daniel, please?
Father who?
Father Digimos.
Father Damiolis?
Yes, there we go.
Damielos.
Father
Damielos.
Damielos. This is Nigel. I was on the plane with him. I want to talk to him.
Well, the father is a little bit busy now. I'll just go and see him and see if he can take your call.
Right.
And Father, the phone rings in the room in which you are. Let's say you're in your study.
Mm-hmm.
With a big pile of paperwork that has accumulated over the last 3 weeks. And your church secretary rings through. I said, Father, I'm terribly sorry to bother you, but there's a man on the line. He says his name is Nigel, and he wants to talk to you about an aeroplane.
I think he is one of the passengers. Of course, let me speak to him. Transfer it to line 3.
There's a big
no,
click.
line 2, not line 3.
There's another big click.
Hello, this is Father Damielos.
Father Daniel, it's Nigel Bavington here, sir.
Hello, Nigel. How are you doing?
Me and the boys are here having a pint at the Moscow, and we're going to come see you tomorrow morning. What time do you open up? What time do you kind of roll back the carpets or do whatever you do there at church?
Well, why don't you join me at the church at the church office at 9? It's next door to the church. You can't miss it.
9 in the morning?
Is that too late? Too early?
Too early? Let's say 10.
10 o'clock. Okay, that is fine.
And you'll make us a pot of that good Greek coffee.
Of course.
All right, it's a date. Talk. He hangs up.
I forget what my secretary's name. It's been like 3 weeks. They're letting what is her name?
His name is Vangelis.
No, it's not.
Demis.
Bernadette.
No, not a man, woman. She's a member of the congregation.
Oh, Nana.
Everybody's called Nana.
No, it's Elpida. That's it. Elpida. Put this on my schedule for tomorrow morning. It's 10 o'clock. A Nigel bath house, something like that.
Okay, she says something Well, I'm not going to do the accent because
Oh God,
frankly, I'd get into all sorts of bother.
She's English. This is London.
no. So just speak normally,
Most of my congregation is English.
but up an octave.
Right, you are love, Tarvary Vats Ducks. Oh, chimney. Off she goes.
Have you been watching Monty
Please
Python?
address all emails of protest to Mick Swan.
I'll quite happily mock the English. I live in Scotland. I've got 5 million people ready to defend me.
Why do I have all this paperwork? I don't understand. I
So
don't do
Nigel
paperwork.
just kind of shuffles bewilderedly back to the table, make sure the dog's got some beer in his bowl. And he's like, I've called the Padre, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, free coffee. We're there.
I can't complain about that.
Well, if no one wants to do anything else, we can jump straight ahead to that meeting.
Sure.
By way of a cooked breakfast and some Alka-Seltzer. So we shall have you assembling the next morning in Norbiton. Is it Norbiton?
And this is now September 2nd.
Yeah.
This is now September the 2nd, yes.
I can't believe I also missed the New Year's for the church. September 1st is the New Year's. Okay, so now it's the 2nd. We've already had church. We did the early in the morning. What day of the week is this? It's probably who cares? Wednesday. All right. So you could probably come up to the lovely little Greek Orthodox church with a little gold dome on the top of it and all that. And next door there's a reception hall and the offices are upstairs. There's a sign.
I mean, it's a nice little drive because you go through, Putney and Richmond Park.
It's a pretty little garden all around the church.
And in the distance, you can see the delightful site of the famous Hulk Mill sewage treatment works.
So this motley crew just kind of shuffles up the steps to the church. Some looking more worse for wear than others. Some looking bewildered. Some looking tired.
As you're walking up the steps, an elderly Greek woman sort of
makes the sign of the cross.
Wanders past you, tutting.
with extreme displeasure. Much judgment.
Oh no, this is all about hospitality. So
she's just in a bad mood. She's got to go home and do her son's laundry.
Oh boy, you really don't know Greek mothers and grandmothers. They love to take care of their children.
Only what
I shared a house. I shared a house with a Greek bloke, and she turned up every Saturday morning and cleaned the house.
Nice.
Greek nuns, less so.
They dote on their children, almost obscenely. Anyway, so they come upstairs. Obviously, they can probably already smell the Greek coffee. And as I don't want to take over. The secretary shows you into the office, and Father Daniel.
Yes, you're let in, and
please come in.
Father will
come in
now.
We have chairs all here for you, and my secretary will be bringing the coffee in just a moment. Nigel, you said you wanted to speak. What?
Well, Father, we've been through something really weird, and we were all talking about it and drinking last night, and the only person missing was you. So we thought we would get you involved with the conversation and see what we wanted to see, what next step, what we want to do. Do we want to get lawyers? Do we want to be on TV? Do we want to find out what happened to us? Do we just want to go about our lives?
There are in this world mysteries that we will never know. I am not interested in suing anyone, and I am interested in knowing what happened, but I believe there might be a connection with the woman. There were definitely some very strange things about that woman.
Did you know who she was?
I do not know who she was. I did not really get a good look at her. I saw her only from behind.
So did I.
Yes. The thing is, I don't know if you are a religious man or you believe anything at all. In our beliefs, there are people who are aligned with dark forces that draw upon these dark energies to do evil things. And I find it highly suspicious that this woman, that there were things about her that just felt very wrong to me. We call these things demons, these entities, but I don't know. This might seem very different than what you might believe. I heard them saying that there may be aliens from other planets who somehow abducted us, and I am not so sure that is true. I think that that most of the time things like aliens, there are a number of things to indicate that these also are simply demons, devils, that are trying to trick the people into believing that there is no God, that it is just aliens from another planet. There's just something that seems very wrong. I know of another incident too. An incident not too far from where I grew up, where there was a small girl who she had disappeared from her family, and a search of the area, a search of the village, a search of the forest around it for 5 days. No one could find the little girl. And then her mother walked into her bedroom and the little girl was there. And when asked where she had been, all she did was cry. She would not answer the question. She had been nowhere. She was not aware that she had ever disappeared in the first place. And we could never explain this, except we would say it is a demonic trick, a trick of these entities, these dark entities that are in our universe. Do you like your coffee? It's very strong.
It's very good.
Do I need to do a psychology roll to look around at the rest of my companions to see if there's any rolling eyes or...
You can if you wish.
I just want to get a sense of... Nope, 92. Never mind.
More coffee.
They're all absolutely devout believers as far as you can tell.
Okay.
I'll help you out. All these is all a bunch of bullocks.
We're converting next week.
This is all too much for me. I'm good grief.
I'm
still trying to figure this out.
I appreciate that these may not be your beliefs. And I want you to understand, we are not talking... It may seem as if these are primitive beliefs, but they are primitive words that we use for things that we cannot explain. They are not little demons with horns and spiked tails. These are words for entities. There are things that are malevolent in the universe.
For the Demilos, listen, I understand where you come from, but truthfully, look, it ain't that hard. We lost a couple weeks. We gotta figure out where the hell we were at. Simple as that. That's how I feel.
Well, it would seem that we have traveled forward in time. By what means, we don't know. By some technology, possibly.
Who knows?
I think we're all drugged.
It's like one of those store transporters.
I mean, do you think this is one big hoax? I mean, there's something somebody was doing on us for some reason?
What?
Maybe not like one of those TV show things, but maybe just kind of screwing around with us?
Do any of you remember falling asleep during the flight? It was not a long flight. Do you remember, what were you doing?
Drinking.
Oh, I was, had a couple of drinks, and then I was reading my book.
Oh, that's reading. I was reading my my books that I got in Greece.
But was there perhaps something? I am exploring one of the ideas that you just said. What if we were, in fact, drugged and abducted? We were drugged, we were abducted, and then we were woken up at precisely the same moment, well, minus 3 weeks. And we just sort of, thought, oh, I just had a moment of drifting, and I'm back. And we knew nothing had changed. I don't remember this happening to me, but I'm always willing to entertain a scientific explanation.
I mean, we were greeted by the government, right?
Oh, yes, you were greeted by a member of the, I don't know what I said at the time, Civil Aviation Authority.
This woman, did anybody see her license plate?
She was in a taxi, I think.
She was in a taxi.
The taxi would have had a taxi license, an ID number on it.
Do they have the taxi license numbers up on the light? Up on the top of the car?
No, there would be one. I think there's one on the back, and there's one in the front, in the windscreen.
We could...
Hackney carriage license.
If any of you can remember the number, we could, in theory, find out where the passenger was taken to.
I was just about to say that there, Father. Did anybody see the taxi number? There's
Well, you could make a retroactive spot hidden roll to see if anyone can recall what the number was.
Well, old Hot Rod there was the closest one to it when he walked up to the autograph.
I was in the front seat. I just rolled a 3, but
yeah,
I feel bad about the retro. I feel like that's awfully lucky that I got that number.
Well, for those of you who do make a successful roll, the number of the cab was D4955.
D4955.
Which is probably not how cab IDs are done.
Okay. And as I recall, the reputation for English cabbies is that they have memorized everything in the whole city in order simply to become cabbies.
The knowledge. Yes.
The knowledge.
So, and are there more than one cab companies, or is it just one general cab system?
Well, it was a black cab, so you would. I have no idea. I think probably at this time, 1987. possibly there's still the GLC
Well,
Central Hall, so that will probably be your best bet. Would be
I
the
would
Greater
suggest
London
then,
Council.
I of course cannot counsel you to do something to lie directly, but to embellish our story. Why don't you find a cab company, find the cab number, and ask them? Perhaps you could say that you have reason to find this woman because we were on the same airplane together, suggesting that perhaps she left something on the airplane that we want to give back to her. I didn't say that. Let's call that a placa. It's a little white lie.
Whatever you say there, Father.
Well, I'm not sure that I should go with you. It would look very strange.
Well, if you would like to do that, we could do that as the last thing tonight, visiting the GLC.
But please keep me informed of what we find out.
All right. Well, assuming you're all going to do that, it doesn't take you that long. Da, da, da.
Very dramatic timing there.
It doesn't take you that long to get into central London, to Central Hall. And probably about half an hour of poking around and being sent from one office to another office because it's you're dealing with local government bureaucracy. But eventually, you do find a registration office. And just as you arrive, you encounter a rather sullen-looking man. He's very pale, doesn't look like he's seen sunlight for quite some time. Sitting behind a desk, reading a golf magazine, What Club magazine, and smoking a cigarette because it's 1987 and you can. And can I help you?
My good man, if I were, and I walk up to the desk, if I were to give you the number of a cab, could you tell me who the driver was and could we talk to him?
Well, my job's worth, mate.
And, Nigel looks through his wallet, looks at the man, looks at the wallet again, and pulls out 20 quid and then puts the number under it and just puts it across the desk.
I'll see what I can do, sir.
Good man, good show.
That's fairly generous.
And he disappears off for a while, comes back with a bit of paper. And he hands you a bit of paper. It says Ken Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
And in brackets under that, it says Russell Square.
Right.
Now, you have lived in London all your life, and you know that cabbies tend to congregate in small green sheds where they stop for sandwiches and cups of tea, and there is one such shed on Russell Square, in the corner that leads into the School of Oriental and Asian Studies, Oriental and African Studies, in fact. I'm talking about Oriental and African Studies. But the finest anthropological institutes in the United Kingdom, turning out all sorts of marvelous creatures. So yes, you're familiar with this place.
Yeah.
And
So
he,
Nigel will kind of herd them all out, you know,
pockets the 20 quid and goes back to his
goes back to the magazine.
What Club magazine. You just
All right.
He says,
So
"Oh, look at it. Look at the
Nigel,
grips on that."
Nigel yanks on, you know, Winston's leash, and it's, all right, gentlemen, let's go. Come on, we got this. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You know,
So I'll herd them into a. Now it's not within walking distance, right?
I can't remember where Central Hall is.
We'll say it's not, and we'll all jump in the cab and we'll have them take us down to Russell Square.
Hang on, I'm thinking of Central Hall in Westminster, and it's not there. It's I can't even remember where the GLC was based. Just made an involuntary tune then, which is something that old men do. County Hall in Lambeth was what I was thinking of. That's where you were. You weren't at Central Hall in Westminster because that's a conference venue.
Nothing like a prepared GM, right?
County Hall in Lambeth, yeah, because I knew you'd want to track down a taxi cab, obviously. It doesn't take that long to get from Lambeth to Russell Square.
All right.
You can go the Lambeth way.
Well, we're coming up on the top of the hour too, so I don't want to start the discussion with the cabbie if we can't really finish it.
No, we can get that in if everyone's okay. It's only going to take a couple of minutes. Okay, well, quite easy to find. I mean, you know, it's a big green shed on the edge of Russell Square, which is a quite nice sort of leafy tree little place. And there's a chap in there with a tea urn and little grill and things. There's a few tables and chairs. And afternoon, gents. What can I do you for?
Hello, old son. We'd like to talk to you about a fare that you picked up yesterday.
I'm not a cabbie, mate. Sorry, I don't pick up any fares.
I'm sorry?
I'm not a cabbie, mate. I just work in there.
Let's see. I look at the piece of paper and I'm like, where is, what was it, Ken something?
Ken Stanley.
Where's Ken Stanley at? We need to talk to
Kenny. He should be in a while. He's back and forth all day. He is. He's always. What's it now? 11:30. He'll be in about 12ish for his bacon sandwich. You want to hang around? Anyway, any of you want a cup of tea or a cup of coffee while you're waiting? Sandwich, maybe.
I'll get some tea, please.
I want a bacon sandwich now.
Right, you are. My old fox cocker. And he slaps on some bacon and some thick white bread. And goes to work making some sandwiches, pouring teas, coffees for those who like something exotic. And, people come and go. The level of banter isn't particularly great in here. It's a lot of people turning up. And as far as you can tell, most of the conversation sounds very much like, "Oh, you're all right. Yeah, I'm all right. How's your Pauline? Yeah, she's great. How's your Pauline? Oh, she's wonderful. Yeah, marvelous. Yeah." And that's pretty much the conversation that you get. But
scintillating.
About 12:10. A man who looks almost exactly the same as all the other men, who come and go in here, who's wearing like a navy blue cardigan and a polo shirt
Comfy shoes.
and a pair of grey Farrahs and some comfortable brown shoes, and holding a coin dispenser and a little
Racing
notebook.
form.
Yep, and a copy of the Sporting Life. Wanders in, and as he makes his order, the chap on the at the tea gestures over to you and points you out to him, and he walks over to you and says, I'm are you looking for me?
Mr. Stanley.
That's right, yeah. What
Right.
do you want?
Oh, we were hoping to talk to you about a fare that you picked up yesterday. A quite fit bird at the airport. Green turban, sunglasses.
No, it doesn't ring a bell. No.
Well, we got your number. We got your number off the cab.
Well, I don't know. That's the funniest thing. And he sort of lowers his voice, like he definitely doesn't want anyone else to hear it. But he says,
You can't remember, can you?
well, it's funny you should say that, because I went up the airport because I heard on the radio that plane, the one what disappeared.
That's us.
It was you, was it? Oh right. Well, I went up there for that. I thought there's going to be a lot of people coming. There's going to be like people coming off the plane. There's all sorts of people going up there and having a look. I thought I'll get a decent fare back into town.
And you
I
did.
drove up there. I was sitting there in the taxi rank. I was second in the rank. The car in front of me pulls off, and the next thing I know, I'm right back in the middle of town.
Where were you when you woke up?
Just outside the British Museum.
Right. Think you dropped someone off there?
Well, there was no fare on the meter. Like nothing on the meter at all. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not getting enough sleep.
That's all
Weird,
right,
though.
son. That's all right.
Funniest thing though, there was this funny smell
Like
in the
what?
cab. I don't know, like
Yeah, what kind of smell did you? What was weird
Sorry,
about the smell?
I don't know what you call it. It was whatever hippies smell of. It was like a sort of like a sort of earthy, fruity kind of smell.
Patchouli.
I don't know.
That's all right, son. You get back to your meal. Thanks for talking to us. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Don't go throwing it around. I mean, like I don't.
No, it's all right.
Things like this, I could get my license taken away.
No. Don't you worry about it, son. Don't you worry about it.
My lips are sealed.
So we'll leave him to his drink, and Nigel will go back. Well, I assume everyone heard the conversation here. So the only thing we've got is the British Museum. Do we think that maybe she was dropped off there? Do we think she still might be wandering aimlessly around there?
Well, it has been a day.
Yeah. But she's very striking, so you never know if that's her neighborhood. You just never know.
We could ask the museum staff if they saw her.
It just keeps getting weirder and weirder here. I mean, come on. I mean, who is this gal?
We could ask the British Museum people if anything is missing. All right. Well,
Yeah, we
is
can
that a
do
good
that.
spot?
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
good.
Well, shall we say then that you are going to go to the museum then?
Yeah, that will be next up.
You can pick
Okay.
the priest up on that. He can go to the museum.
Okay.
He probably is very familiar with it.
Probably.
Yes. All right. Well, you make the arrangements. You can phone him up and make the arrangements, and we will start next time at the British Museum.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
So we'll leave it there today.
All right. Our players included Jeff Wilkins, Bill Mize, Corey Heisted, Ford Fitch, Josh Hook, and myself, with Mick Swan as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to become a patron of our show, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month will really help us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest postings. And be sure to leave us some comments. We love hearing from you. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.